Friends, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is your channel, Gnosis Arizona. And tonight, we're walking into the space where we are formally closing this three-part series on this thing that we have called overcoming fear and anxiety. But what I want you to know is that as we do this tonight, this session that we're going to enjoy together is not your typical session. Our focus today is going to be very specific into reviewing some actions that you can take before, during, and after fear strikes. What we are seeking to do with this is to empower you in such a way that you can weaken these patterns, that not only you can see them, but that you can recognize them. Likely that you recognize them already, but that in that degree of empowerment that you have the right tools to overcome these inferior manifestations of the ego that bring about inferior thoughts and negative emotions, so that as you weaken these patterns, that these things have no longer a hold or power over you. By doing this, we understand that change does not happen overnight, but change will happen soon enough. And you will start seeing the benefit the moment that you start applying these things. So let's start this conversation tonight about what is it that we can do before fear strikes. That means right now. In these moments where you find yourself in the space where you're in your safe space, you are comfortable, there are no worries, and there are no concerns. And to get some initial guidance from a lesson titled The Key of SOL, and SOL, you will see what that is in a minute. What the masters tell us is our motto is telema. Telema means willpower. And willpower is an innate force that emanates from the depths of our consciousness, from the depths of our being. Of course, in the condition that we are today, most of the willpower that we experience is driven by the ego. And how can you tell between one and the other? Well, if you, for example, feel the will to go get something in the fridge because you feel hungry, and by the time you walk to the fridge and you open the door, you contemplate inside, you go, that's not what I wanted. Or maybe not, because I need to lose some weight. You see, those are then the willpower and the movements of the ego. So we must begin by awakening our consciousness, and we can bring some exercises that can help us do so. I believe that we have a question. Paige, yes?
Hi, I'm not sure if you meant to do this, but you're muted.
No.
Sorry.
How embarrassing. All right, we're going to fix that right now. Let's do this. Let's do this again. All right. Good evening, friends. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is your channel, Gnosis Arizona. And tonight, we're going to bring to a conclusion this part 3 of what we have called Overcoming Fear and Anxiety. The title of our session tonight is Turning Fears into Conscious Light. And what you will see is that tonight's session is not one of our typical sessions. Our focus tonight is going to be very specific, and that is to review some actions, give you the necessary tools that you can use so that you can implement this work before, during, and after fear strikes. We know, we understand that these changes do not happen overnight, but these changes will materialize fast enough the moment you start putting them into practice. So by the time that we are done here with this session, what we would like to do is empower you in such a way that you will have the necessary knowledge to contemplate, to recognize, to overcome these inferior effects of fear, and that you can weaken all of its patterns so that these elements, these inferior aspects that exist as psychological aggregates in our psyche, that they no longer hold any power over you. So let's going to start tonight with things that we can do before fear strikes. That is, right now. This moment where we are in a safe space, where we are comfortable with our blanket, where we are just ready to take in the world. So what are some things that we can do now? The most important thing that the masters guide us to do is start by focusing efforts on awakening the consciousness, because our motto is telema, and telema means willpower. This is not the willpower of the ego, that weak willpower that moves us to start doing something and abandon it, or make us stand up to go somewhere to get there and change our mind. No, this is not that fleeting willpower. This is that willpower that emanates from the depths of the heart. And for us to do that, we must start by awakening the consciousness. And we are so fortunate that there is a law that we can apply so that we can start creating this new circumstance. This law is the law of the Triyamashikamno. That means the law of three. Because in creation, every manifestation takes place because of the law of three. In our case, that law translates as how can we focus, how can we direct our attention in three specific directions? Think of it as three specific vectors. And those three vectors are yourself, the fear itself, and the environment. At first, you will notice that you will try to do this as an intellectual exercise. That is okay. But as you practice, you will notice that suddenly the consciousness is empowered enough to be able to direct that attention into those three directions simultaneously, all at the same time. So how is it that we can divide this attention in three? We're going to start focusing in ourselves as the subject. We need to ask ourselves, what is happening? Before that fear strikes, what is happening? Let's make ourselves present, ground ourselves at this particular moment where we can start perceiving all of these things that are happening around us. When we are looking at the subject, it's ourselves, what is happening inside? What is happening outside? It gives us that heightened state of awareness. Because the moment that fear shows its face, we start noticing some key signals. We notice the racing heart. We start noticing the anxious thoughts. We notice that there's some tenseness in the shoulders. The hands may get a little clammy. They may get sweaty. We may get some chills. We may get so many different things. So it is good that we start focusing in this particular moment so that we can start creating the habit of having a very good baseline. A baseline of what is the safeness that exists around us and within us right now. And as you start perceiving those elements of fear, you will be able to contemplate them, but without judging them. Contemplate them without having to skew them, without having to evade them. Just simply be there and see them. The second aspect is focusing that attention into the fear itself, the object itself, the thing that is causing the fear. We have to ask ourselves in a very conscious way, what exactly am I reacting to? Because many times, as we have seen in our previous lessons, we will be able to notice things in our environment, and because the brain will perceive them and process them at levels below the detection level of the intellect, the brain will immediately react. It will perceive something that is happening now, compare it to something that happened before, and not knowing the difference of what is happening out there and what is happening in here, the brain will react, and suddenly you will have that rush of biochemistries through your body. Suddenly you will feel the adrenaline, so you will be under such a shock that it will distract you and put you in a disadvantageous position. And we don't want you to be in a situation where you are, as they say, playing not to lose. We want you to be empowered. What am I reacting to? See the trigger. Was it a text? Was it a key word in the text? Is it a memory that you were just contemplating and a fleeting memory came by? Was it a look from someone? Was it the way that you felt that somebody was talking to somebody else? We must look at this. And as you see this, it is likely that you will start feeling an emotion brewing within. We must use that willpower to negate the emotion. As we negate the emotion, we can stand ourselves outside of that particular moment of worry and into a circle that the ancient referred to as the circle of Tao. That circle where there is contemplation, serenity. And from there, observe yourself as the director that is contemplating the drama, as the director that is directing the actors, and not as an actor caught within the drama itself. So we focus attention in the object, in the subject, and the last vector is the attention in the environment. Ask yourself, where am I? Ask yourself, where is the fear? See that there is a natural distance between the source of your worry and exactly where you are. Don't allow yourself to fall into this thing that the mind creates, which is a mechanical fantasy, this imagined future. To not allow that to happen, we can also negate the thought. And as we negate the opportunity to that aggregate to continue structuring its erroneous thinking, that aggregate to continue brewing with that inferior emotion, 9 times out of 10, you will see that fear is out there. That fear is not here in the space where I stand. The threat that concerns me is not that threatening. And slowly you start creating this concept of distance, and before you realize, you can start approaching it slowly, methodically, to the point where those patterns, those inferior things, they have no effect at all on you. Let me give you an example of how this will look like. Suddenly, we have done this practice, and by the time that we're going to a party, we start feeling that our chest is feeling a little tight. Suddenly, our thoughts start racing. We start wondering. We start worrying. And we tell ourselves, what happens if I do something silly? What happens if... Rather than absorbing that impression, rather than identifying with that and fascinating with that mental scenario, we step into that space of the circle of Tao, and we can contemplate that without any judgment. We can observe that out there, we notice that there are some people who may be laughing. Maybe we have assumed that they were laughing about us. Maybe they were assuming that they're referring to the clothing that we're wearing, to something. So as we see that, we can then focus on the attention and notice the laughter is there. The laughter is not here. I am here. I'm holding this soda. I am enjoying this music. I mean, the fear is not here in this room. It is not tangible. This is something that just manifested, and I was able to perceive it. I saw how it influenced my thoughts. I saw how it influenced my emotions. And if you want to make this a little more spicy, ask yourself, am I dreaming or am I in my body? When you're directing that attention to the location, to the environment, you start creating a wonderful habit that pays tremendously the stronger this habit gets. How many times have you not seen yourself in dreams? And suddenly you are in your house and you walk into a room and there is something there that is completely different than what you would expect. How many times in a dream have you not come face to face with a loved one who is no longer here? And you have never asked yourself, what are you doing here? You have not asked yourself, where am I? If we start creating that habit here while we are awake, when we're in the dream state, we will repeat that very same habit, and suddenly you will start awakening your consciousness in the astral plane. Before you realize, you start awakening your consciousness here in the physical plane, and you bring that good habit and you exercise it to awaken consciousness as well in the astral plane, and suddenly astral travel, astral unfoldment starts becoming so much more easier. So observe the subject. What am I feeling? What is this? What am I perceiving? This thing that I'm seeing. Contemplate it without judgment. Focus on the object, on the thing that invited those internal reactions. Find out where it is, and as you are grounding yourself in that environment, ask yourself, where am I? Where is this source of concern? Where is this fear? And see that there is that distancing and that separation. We can do this. And of course, we have said, use your willpower, empower the consciousness. So where is it that we can start empowering the consciousness itself? We can start by charging ourselves with energy that will fuel this internal work. And the beautiful thing is that this energy already exists within you. The source of this creative energy exists within your own constitution. And it has always been there. It is that the ego has been using it for its own nefarious purposes. And now you are empowered to take this energy and use it in a way that instead of allowing it to flow outside and to be consumed and leave you drained at the end of the day, now you are making use of this energy and you're directing it inward and upward. And for this, there is a practice that is called Khamsa. If you have not heard of Khamsa before, Khamsa is an exercise that you can do to transmute your creative power. You would hear us in many of these lessons refer to it as your creative energies. And Khamsa, as an exercise of pranayama, asks you to relax your body and methodically breathe, and as you breathe, to use your objective imagination to combine your willpower and your objective imagination into seeing what happens within you. If you have not seen this word Khamsa before, Aham means I am, and Sa means El, He, that ineffable thing. So with every breath, we are seeking to bring about this spiritual and anemic principles of the being, and in living them within our own consciousness. This is how we do it. And all you have to do is do this for just 10 minutes a day. Ideally, you can do this 10 minutes in the morning. But if you have 10 minutes of break at work, if you have 10 minutes of solitude at any given moment, do it. And you can do it as many times during the day as it benefits you, as you feel that you can do this. How do we do this? We sit comfortably. Comfortably means that we want to sit in a chair with our feet flat on the floor. We want our spine to be vertical. We want to experience a deep sensation of relaxation in the body so that there's nothing tense, that there is no discomfort. And as we're sitting, we will allow our left hand to rest comfortably in our lap, palm up, and then our right hand, palm up also, resting on the left hand. And as you close your eyes, with your body relaxed, you inhale slowly. And as you're inhaling slowly, deliberately, mentally, sing the mantra, Ham. Ham. This is what's happening. But you will use your objective imagination to see the flow of that creative energy from that second chakra, that exists within your pelvic area, right there in the area of the creative organs. And you visualize the flow of that energy as two rays of light that are entwined, rising up the spine and reaching all the way up to the brain. Hold your breath for a second. And as you exhale, We want to exhale in a way that is rapid enough, yet relax enough through the mouth. Gently. Sa. Sa. Allow that exhalation to be rapid, gentle, and total. And you do this for 10 minutes. As we do this practice, we are directing inward these creative energies that exist within us. And as we're bringing them up, we are rising them all the way up to the brain. The rapid exhalation allows, at the level of the physicality, the motion, the transfer, the movement of all of that spinal fluid moving up into the head and back down. And you start charging your body with that energy. So this is just one. The other exercise that you can do, and we recommend that you do both of them, is that you embrace a little bit of magic. This is the magic of the runes. And among the many things that we teach in the magic of the runes, there is a practice that is done that is called the rune thorn. Notice that the image of the rune looks like a little thorn in the stem of a rose. And we will mimic that very same posture with our own body, just exactly as you see on the screen. And as we stand tall with our feet together. As we are facing east, we can bring our right hand into our hip. And with our right arm bent, the hand resting at the waist, we will bring that deep breath in. And as we exhale, we will dedicate the whole exhalation for each one of these 7 mantric syllables. Da. All of your breath. De. You see what we're doing? De. Once again. Do. We are effectively working, energizing the chakras of the astral body. When we bring that deep breath in, and you again make use of your willpower and your objective imagination, you can see yourself absorbing that source of life that is called prana. And as you sing that mantra, ta, the chakras of the lungs, as well as the chakra of the thymus gland next to the heart, they start vibrating. Ta. We exhale. We breathe again. We see ourselves bringing that prana into the body. And as we sing the mantric vowel te, the creative larynx starts vibrating. And the creative larynx gives us the ability to hear the things that the ears of the flesh cannot perceive, as well as a deeper understanding of the symbols that we come across every day, of any knowledge that you come across as well. And we exhale. Then we sing the mantric syllable, Di, and this one brings vibration to the chakras of the head, both the crown chakra and the one in between the eyebrows. That third eye that is called Ajna, and then that crown that is called Sahasrara. These give you the ability to see what the eyes of the flesh cannot perceive. Then, when we sing Do, we bring once again that vibration to the heart center, and the chakra of the heart that is called Anahata vibrates. And the chakra Anahata, as it becomes harmonious, it gives you the ability to have intuition, inspiration. And last, the mantric syllable tu allows the vibration of your solar plexus. And your solar plexus, that is your telepathic center. You start being more receptive to all of these things, to those that you hold deep affinity with as well. This rune helps strengthen your willpower. And if you practice this one in the morning, all you have to do is sing these sequences of mantric syllables 7 times in the posture of the rune thorn, and then you can sit comfortably and do your 10 minutes of Hamsa. You will start noticing that suddenly not only there is a better harmony within, but that there is an innate calmness that empowers you to start navigating the events of the day. But you charge yourself with this energy, and now that you have this, what do? Because we cannot just move on and waste it. We have to make the most of it. I mean, we have brought it inward. So for us to be able to maintain this energy throughout your day, you would be required to make a slight change. To safeguard all of this creative energy, we have to be a little bit more explicit, a little bit more expressive, if we're already doing it. If not, we must start cultivating gratitude. We must start by making the effort of being patient, of being tolerant, of being serene. As we start making that chakra of the creative larynx vibrate, that gives us the ability to hear and perceive better, now we have to start making better use of the creative power of the word. We have to start using foresight. What effect we anticipate that's going to happen when we say these things that we really want to say. And of course, we cannot go out there and judge others. We cannot go out there and criticize. We should not be giving our ears to those judgments and those criticisms of others. And we must cultivate courtesy. When we do these things, all of these things together do 2 things for us. The first one is that doing this is, for many of us, it's kind of not easy, so it's kind of a sacrifice. And when we are involved in this sacrifice of being patient, of cultivating the right use of the word, of being gracious, of being courteous, we start crystallizing around us the substance of sacrifice. And as that substance crystallizes, eventually there is enough of it that it becomes a canvas in which you can stencil this beautiful work that is your life. So this we must do during the day. We work building our willpower with the rune thorn. We can do the Hamsa so that we can transmute those energies. And with that energy available, we must do this to cultivate the substance of sacrifice. And I said 2 things. The second thing is that it helps us build a rich internal life. So we do that. But then something happens. What do we do the moment that we get struck with fear? What happens the moment that we experience that surge of fear within us? We're going to share with you some mantras that are exceedingly powerful. Mantra means word of power. So we're going to share these with you so that you can use them any moment, any time that you need. The masters tell us, particularly Samael Aun in his book Logos Mantra Theurgy, he says, the disciple can also defend himself from his enemies. In this case, these inferior aspects, these psychological aggregates, they are not friendly. In urgent and serious cases, with these mantras, these are 5 mantras. You're going to see that there are 6 words there, but in reality, these are 5 mantras. Klim, Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana Vayavaya, Swaha. Memorize these mantras because these mantras are exceedingly powerful. Klim, Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana Vayavaya, Swaha. These words are Sanskrit. they have a very deep and profound meaning. And it is so difficult to accurately translate them because they are so profound in their knowledge, and they're so profound in their significance. But if we were to translate them, the best translation that we can offer is, I connect with devotion to the cosmic Christ, the beloved protector. So be it. Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopihana Vayavaya Swaha. And the moment that you verbalize these mantras, if you allow yourself to perceive with that third eye of perception, you will notice that you become immediately surrounded by a flaming star, a star that radiates and that keeps at bay any inferior forces, any negative manifestations. Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopihana Vayavaya Swaha. I connect with devotion to the cosmic Christ, the beloved protector. So be it. But there is also a little mantra that is kind of a song. This mantra was a gift from one of the angels. It was Angel Arok who gave this to Samael Aumveor, and he captured this in one of his writings. It's captured in a book of prayers and invocations that is available online. The song of the Angel Oroch invokes the intelligent forces of the angel Beliling. And it says, excuse my poor singing, it says, Beliling, 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 amphora of salvation, I wish I could be next to you. Materialism holds no power over me. Beliling, Beliling, Beliling. This song of the angel Arok is a very similar invocation than the mantra Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopihana Vayavaya Swaha. With these two powerful mantras, we are invoking of superior forces, that they're available with us. They're available to us all along, at any moment that we need. It is just that we must invoke them for these forces to become useful for us. The great masters cannot just give us this protection if we don't ask for it, because then they would be in a way violating our free will. So the best thing to do, memorize these two. And the moment that you feel that sudden surge of these uncomfortable fears and anxieties, this is what we do. Center yourself and seek yourself to remain calm, relaxed, and perceive. And because there is such a beautiful Buddhist teaching, that is the teaching of impermanence, that says everything passes, nothing is permanent, eventually that fear is going to pass. And we must take advantage the moment that circumstance, that condition, fleeting condition, goes away. So there is a practice that is called the practice of hindsight. You may have heard in many of our other lessons speak to it in terms of retrospection. We want to take advantage of hindsight because we all know hindsight, everything is 20/20. Everything is super clear in hindsight. So we want to take advantage of that. At the end of your day, after these circumstances have gone by, whether they went by or did not, revisit your day. But if there was a difficult moment during the day, revisit that event several times. As you revisit that event in your mind, first of all, be certain, very certain, that you are in a safe space revisiting that event. You are within your safe space, within the solitude and the privacy of your home, of your room, etc. And as you are sitting comfortably, as you go back in your day and you revisit that event, examine it without evasives. Examine it without judgment. Examine it, putting aside any cringe factors, any tweak. None of that is important. Just examine it serenely so that you can extract as much content as you can get from it. And as you observe, again, you're observing this as the director of a play that is looking at what's happening on the stage. Observe the reactions that came to your mind at that moment. Observe the effect that you experience at the level of your heart at that moment. But also observe the effect that that had on your energy. You will also be able to perceive if there was some instinctive impulse that came in. Maybe you wanted to fight it. Maybe you wanted to run away. You will be able to perceive as well everything that happened at the level of your body. If you got tense, if your hands got sweaty, if your heart was rushing, if you felt all of that, you will perceive it again. But observe without evasives. And you will start noticing what psychological aggregates came into play to generate those effects. When you see that, the more you observe, the more you will be able to comprehend. The easier it would be for you to identify many triggers. And once you identify them, you are like the lookout at the time of war. I mean, once you see it, you know what can happen and you're no longer afraid of it. You see it and you say, I can see that and I can see it there. And I know the effect that that can generate. And you can see how it slowly starts losing its effect and its power over you. But I'm going to give you a word of warning. Because the moment that you try to make this exercise happen, there are so many other images that are going to come to mind. These are going to be all distractions. I tell you this now, these are going to be all distractions. Many different images are going to come and try to invade your mind. And if you go with that, you are going to become a victim of a distraction. You will identify with it, fascinate. Before you realize, you're going to be like, wait, what was I doing? Let me come back. No, we don't want to do that. All of these distractions that will show up, these are distractions that are natural interference of the ego. And we can overcome this. I mean, if suddenly one of these images comes around and you see it and it's an image that feels kind of scary, you must apply something that is taught in the Hermetic teachings that is known as the principle of polarity. If we translate that to plain English, that means see the opposite. Sounds radical. Go with the flow. Give it an opportunity. If it's something that feels kind of scary, look at it from the posture that you are courageous. If suddenly there comes an image of somebody that for some reason they did something you disliked them, there's some resentment that comes up, you feel angry, you feel hate. When that comes up, instead of seeing with hate, see with compassion. See with generosity. See with love. If you see an image that does not seem to have any relevance, you see a tall person, see them small. These are radical examples. But the purpose is for you to see whatever images come into the mind, apply that opposite, that principle of polarity. Because when you do that, you create a synthesis. You see it as scary, and suddenly you also see it as courageous. And it's like one force neutralizing the other. You see it with hatred, then you force into that willingly with your willpower and that inner strength, and you bring compassion, you bring generosity, and all of that neutralizes. If you're distracted because you see somebody who's beautiful, gorgeous, elegant, handsome, doesn't matter. See them old and wrinkled. All of that synthesis takes all of those images and they no longer have an effect on you. And you can go back into that exercise of retrospection with purpose, with determination. This is what we do. And you will start noticing in these patterns that there are different psychological areas that seem to be like friendly with each other. They like shake hands and they assume ownership of the human form and create different effects. You start noticing the structure. You start noticing the transactions, and you start observing those patterns and creating this greater image of comprehension of what these defects are. Now, you may be tempted to use affirmations. Affirmations, they're valuable, but their use is limited. They can only take you so far. What we learn is that whenever we try to make use of the mind, to get rid of these inferior aspects, the mind is unable to get rid of them. The mind will justify them. They will change their names. They will shove them deep into the subconsciousness. They will try to continue stuffing these thoughts, and as a consequence, stuffing more emotions. And this is all very detrimental because it continues draining you of that creative energy, and it continues to leave you drained at the end of the day. No, we don't want that. We want you empowered. So because the mind has no ability to disintegrate these defects, you have the ability to invoke of the serpentine, the igneous, the fiery power of that eternal feminine that exists within you. That divine eternal feminine in the Eastern tradition is known as Kundalini. In his writings on the Treatise of Revolutionary Psychology, Samael refers to her as Stella Maris, which is the star of the seas, the virgin of the seas. It does not matter if we call her Kundalini or Mary or whatever the name, it doesn't matter. We are invoking this eternal feminine, this creative principle that exists within us and is with us here and now. And for us to be able to invoke the power of Kundalini, all that it takes is that we have done this exercise of seeing these transactions of these defects, seeing this fear, comprehending the effects that it has on us. And just like you would ask someone with infinite love to do something, you will ask of your Divine Mother to eliminate this for you. And you can use any prayer that you want. You can say this in any way that flows straight from your heart. If you would hear us when we say it, we say, Divine Mother, we ask of you with our heart, we ask of you with our soul, take this defect, consume it, uncreate it in all the levels of the mind, reduce it to a cosmic dust so that it has no more power over us. I can guarantee you the first few times that you do this, if you observe, watch yourself closely as you exhale, you will feel like there's a weight that comes off your shoulders. That's going to go away. You will experience that the first few times because that is all that it takes so that you know that these forces are available to you, that this gives you, that it yields the result that you need. And eventually, well, you don't need to continue having the affirmation of feeling the lightness, etc., because you already experienced it. It has become part of this thing that builds faith. But all you have to do, ask your Divine Mother to destroy this defect. And you know what happens? When you start building your willpower, when you start transmuting these creative energies that exist within you by using the Hamsa, by using that rune magic of the rune thorn, when you start observing, doing this exercise of retrospection, all of these things together, they become part of a secret discipline of your own mind. And that fills your hands with something to offer. This I offer you, Divine Mother. Destroy this for me. And she will. And then as you go back to sleep, you will notice some differences. Your dreams are going to start becoming more vivid. The symbols, the colors, the experiences will be so much richer. When you wake up in the morning, make an effort to remember your dreams. please, if you have a little journal, take notes. Take note of everything that you see, everything that you experience, everything that you hear, any numbers. If you receive coins, if you see yourself with shoes, if you see yourself walking, if you see airplanes, all those things, write them down because all those symbols are important. The key is that when you wake up in the morning, as you make an effort to remember your dreams, when you open your eyes, don't move. Stay very still. Everybody has had this notion of waking up in the morning and having such a vivid recollection of all the dreams. But then you move in bed, it's gone in a second, in an instant, everything is gone. The reason that happens is because as you wake up, the astral body is coming back into the physical body. And if you move, you shake that. And when you shake it, the memories get erased. So no, you stay there very calm, with your eyes closed, and you make an effort to remember. Use a pencil. The pencil will always be able to write. Sometimes the pen, it will betray you. Use a pencil in your journal, write down the date and write down everything that you can remember from those dreams. Because as you start doing this, your being will communicate and your being will indicate things to look for, ways in which you can improve the work. It will give you warning signs of things that you can anticipate during the day or the upcoming days. And if you know that these things will happen, if you know that these things are about to materialize, now you are in such an advantageous position because with an increased level of awareness, you can perceive them the moment that they manifest. And so you continue to build on your work. You continue to build on your rich inner life. You continue to eliminate these aspects and become every time so much more empowered. And at the end, you're going to find the same thing that you and we are looking for. Just be happy. Just to enjoy life. Just to be able to contribute. Help others. This is what can help. The challenge for you is you got the practices, you got the mantras, right now you have a toolbox that is ready to go use. Go out there, go do something wonderful. For those of you who would like to go deeper into any of this, we sourced this lesson from today, from these 4 books. There is a Gnostic prayer book that has many mantras, many prayers, many invocations. It is a beautiful book, it's a pocket-sized book. It's a beautiful book to have with you if such a thing would benefit you. And then the writings on the Treatise of Revolutionary Psychology, the esoteric treatise on the magic of the runes, and the book Logos, Mantra, and Theurgy. And there are some other lectures that they are also available online. The Key of SOL, how is it that we can transmute our creative energies, and the esoteric discipline of the mind. Dear friends, we are so grateful for your generosity. We are here because you give us an opportunity to be here. This has been turning our fears into conscious light. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this evening. May all beings be happy.